lot of, industries and medium-scale industries, they fall back upon road transport. So one more thing I would just like to say, because Mr. Advan is also there, that he will also agree with me that sometimes railways don't agree to take the freight transport because it is not very economical for them, because they don't want to carry small volumes and quantities of transport. So in that case, the road becomes very insignificant. So I think there is one kind of project which is going in railway, that they are roping in some startups to bring about some aggregated apps. Yeah, so aggregated apps are very important in this instance, especially in our country, because they will pull around all these small scale and medium scale goods, and which will become more economical for the railways to carry. So this aggregated app is proving very important in the field at this point of time. Of course, the one more thing which I would like to add, sir, here is that the gig economy is playing a very important role, especially after COVID. Where the gig workers are contributing about, it is also one of the most important job creation and employment generators. So we have to see all the people who are here, companies of the logistics, they are present here. In one form or the other, they are hoping in the gig workers for the last mile connectivity. But we have to see the working conditions, and there are some labor laws which the government has promoted in order to take care of the social security of these gig workers. And if we want to make our logistics support system very strong, we have to do something about these gig workers. We have to give them good working conditions. We have to give them some social security. So I think the discussion is still going on, and I would like to listen to the other speakers also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. I think your past experience having been at Goa, which has considerable port and rail activity, this will surely, and points put forward by you are also very important, that we have to worry about the last soldier at the border also and ensure that proper conditions are given. Thank you. So, Dr. Jayanti Gupta, you've been at the forefront of railway electrification. You've been the additional members to the railway board. What is the difference that you see in handling of freight few years down the line and today by railways? The kind of green kind of energy, the decarbonization that takes place when you move goods through railways. You have predictability, it is more environmentally sustainable aspect. How can we go ahead with this? What are the plans of railways in this regard? If you can share it with our audience out there, it will be a wonderful takeaway. And then we have our wish list, which I will come back to.
Thank you for asking this excellent question. First of all, my wishes to all the panelists and on the dais and the dignitaries of the dais, and to the teachers, today being Teachers Day. What the logistics should be like, the three important points which comes to my mind. Number one is sustainability. Because these 3 points are very relevant. Sustainability, I will talk about each of these points in 1 minute each. One is sustainability. Like wherever we move the goods and the logistics, there should be least amount of damage to the airline. Because this is going to be very important in days to come. So that's why, as per one estimate, when we move 1 million ton of goods over 1 kilometer by road, around 101 grams of carbon is emitted to into the atmosphere. And the same thing when we do it for by the rail, it's only 11 grams, so around so much of it. Now, as you all know, Indian Railways is almost 100% electrified, 99.9% electrified. So when the trains are running with electric locomotives, there's hardly any carbon emission. Only little bit of lubricant which is burning, otherwise there's nothing. So moving the goods and passengers from road to rail is very important as far as the sustainability is concerned. Moreover, what we are doing now, little bit around 40% of our energy requirement for moving the transport is by the renewable energies. 60% is through thermal, and that we are going to reduce slowly and slowly. And we are going massively for the solar cells, wind energy, and even for the nuclear, because nuclear is the clean energy, because there is no carbon emission from nuclear. And nowadays, with the advanced technology, nuclear is a very safe source of energy also. The small modular reactors are one which is very ambitious. There is going to be coming very soon. Railways are wanting to have small modular reactors for feeding their substations so that we can have the green corridors. Right now, one of the container shipping company met us. They wanted green corridors from Gujarat to Chile because they get some incentive when they move their SCM commodities by green corridors without any emission of carbon. So we have started this process that all substations from JNPT towards the hinterland up to Palampur, Ankleshwar, Bharuch, and Baroda and all these substations will be fed by green energy. So we will certify these corridors as green. So whenever they move the commodity by these corridors, they will get a green certificates. And that's why when they move their commodity to Europe, they will get some incentive. So this is about the sustainability part. Then comes efficient. When we are moving the cargo, when we are moving the logistics, has to be efficient. Any energy which we are wasting, which we are using, should be used for the movement and should not be wasted. So once again, railways being the most efficient is naturally should be number one choice. Of course, inland waterway is more efficient than railways, but it has other problems. It cannot be alleviated. And number three, third comes as Madam has said, optimization. There's so much wastages because of optimization problems. AI is a tool which should be used for optimizing all these things, like aggregators. We find there are commodities somewhere, we find there are wagons somewhere, and we also know there will be certain commodity in the return direction. But all these things have to be optimized in one single platform. Artificial intelligence, machine learning is a very powerful tool which should be used very much effectively to optimize all these things so that the cost becomes very, very less for moving the goods. That is very important. So as we move along, we'll be speaking more. Thank you.
So just one point on sustainability I would like to add here. So that you have mentioned about railways. Railways is 100% electrification and it is a very good step that towards sustainability. But I want to just highlight about the shipping industry. Shipping industry plays a very important role, in carrying the infrastructure of logistics here. And when the ship comes to the harbor and when it stays there, for 2-3 days it burns on sulfur. And the sulfur is so much, in leaving the carbon footprints. So we have to take some serious steps because we are going towards Viksit Bharat 2047, and shipping industry along with railways will play a very important role. And the shipping we have to concentrate towards shipping industry, making it very sustainable and green because it is leaving lot of carbon footprints.
That's an important aspect, and I think the efficiency of Indian ports, which is now at global standards, will surely help because turnaround time of vessels is reducing drastically, which is improving our efficiencies. And yes, as a counter to desulfurization of vessel fuels, that's one of the major agenda. Unfortunately, in this aspect, international few of the developed economies are not giving their commitments to us. I guess this is very important. And so, before I go to Vanda ma'am, for a thing, Sagarji, you are there in the right in center of everything. Whether be it rail, road, ports, aviation, the entire commerce, you are driving it. We would like to know your thought process that India is aspiring to going for a lot of foreign trade agreements right now. Of course, US was underway, but some turbulence right now for timing. We are with Australia, Europe, several other countries we are trying about. There's even further strengthen with UAE. How these will leverage us against this present shock. And this is when we are putting up that every third question which comes to us from industry is this. So that's why we thought this will be the most opportune moment. And then something on predictability that Indian industry wants. That, okay, whether it's commerce, DGFT, or customs, or any other non-tariff uh, compliances that need to be built in, how can we bring up that so over the years?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And in fact, what the larger questions you have given is very broad topic, but let me start with it's my pleasure to be here on the stage with the esteemed panelists, particularly I will say the gurus and particularly Sir. I worked with him 4 years, so he was more than like a boss. He was more of the teacher, so I take the liberty and this space, sir, just to lot of things with the logistics of the railway and all these things. So which we have worked together and daily we used to spend. When we talk about the logistics, just let me take when we see the logistics is really evolving. We started logistics as just a mode of transportation on the road truck driver, like the truck things to the way we have reached today. We are talking about the resilient logistics, the sustainable logistics, inclusive managed logistics. I think we are evolving. Our logistics ecosystem is evolving. There was no definition, particularly with the help of NLP or the PM Gati Shakti, we are trying to institutionalize. Is very interdisciplinary subject again, I would say. And then the efforts, what coming back to the subject again, sir. First, I come speak to the logistics, and I come to the trade initiatives what we are taking. When we are saying the logistics, the first thing, though the sustainable or the resilient things are there, the first thing, first foremost, the approach and the policy is towards how to make it more efficient. There are a lot of bottlenecks we have seen, though we are talking about the multimodal and how railway is efficient and how waterways. But when we are studying and we are discussing with the stakeholders, with the states, or with the industry, we are finding somewhere the road which is giving door to door is having little more age. It is having more cost effective. With the road sector, again, with the hydrogen or the EV, it is also becoming a sustainable. So when we are as a policy making in the DPIT or Ministry of Commerce, we know the road sector is very much important. Then how to integrate railways, definitely station to station is very efficient. Inland waterways have their own, the shipping also have their own constraints. So what we have found, the movement cost or the operational bottleneck, what we say is like the chain is strongest at its weakest point, where the chain is being formed, like the relay race. So when that handover is taking that multimodality aspect, I think we need to work with them more to make it more fluid. Because cargo, what the anchor was saying, cargo, like the logistics is like a bloodstream. So cargo will find its own way, fluid way to reach to the destination. I think we need to work together on that part. As far as the latest tariff things, what is going on, I think we call it as a situation. We are improving with the GST reforms yesterday. I think we are trying to make our industry more economies of scale, more prepared for the opening of the more markets. I think what Sir has seen again, like we have seen COVID or the Red Sea issue, So our industry, both because logistics is lot depends on the how our domestic or the export market is surviving. The cargo is the forefront of everything, and we are trying to open up more gates, more opportunities across the world. As far as what you say, like the trade agreements with the different countries, be it Australia or the EU or the UAE for that matter, it's more like collaboration, understanding each other's market, understanding each other's customers, and again preparing the exporters or the manufacturers in India what is the best way to reach the customers over there, both multilaterally, because we are these tariff issues whatsoever, which we are mixing the trade and the geopolitical situation. Its situation, it will change as per the time, and I think with the more trade agreements and coming up with the other the tariff barriers we are facing, possibly that's the opportunity for the exporters, the manufacturers, and so the logistics industry, I would say. So I have to, what I would say, we have to prepare our logistics industry to see the forecast like what we are today 3 trillion or 4 trillion. When because if Bharat topic is today, we are talking about the 32 trillion. So for carrying 4 trillion cargo and carrying 32 trillion cargo, we have to see where the road network has to go, where the railway network has to go, with the shipping industry. So I think integrating all these three together, going for the Vikasit Bharat, I would sum up like we have to be very efficient. We have to achieve the high scale digitization as digitalization. Again, I learned this word from my teacher only. Digitization and digitalization. So both are important. And third, I would say we need to integrate three more, creating a world-class multimodal logistics hub. World-class multimodal logistics. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I would express my gratitude to my colleagues who I did not know that they were learning from me while I was learning from them. And these guys have really, we started the logistics movement, you could say, in 2018, and they are the founder, colleague, and team members. And I have always believed, and we all would understand as well, and agree with me, that there's a trinity which comes into play for better logistics and resilient supply chains. Right? One is the government, of course, another is the industry, and the third is academia. And look at these three factors. If the government is governor, right, and the industry is a factor or an actor, the academia is a director, right? And therefore, with the director as well, it just takes a I would say academia means the knowledge component, the research which should go in, and the teaching which should go in, the conceptualization which should go into the logistics sector, and especially the new term called global supply chains. It is different from supply chain management of the enterprises, right? And it is also different from just logistics. It is not only logistics or an alter ego of logistics, right? It is just beyond logistics and it is beyond the supply chain of the enterprise. And therefore, the newer term and the newer domain of global supply chains and its resilience, or the domestic supply chain or sectoral supply chains, I think they require newer theoretical constructs and the paradigms, newer paradigms, which can generate and develop, the science of managed resilience of supply chains, or the managers of resilient supply chains, which will require definitely a knowledge set and different skills, newer skills, and newer skills should include just not the knowledge and expertise in sourcing, procurement, transportation, inventory management, and putting into the production. It has to go beyond that. That is the knowledge of trade, knowledge of government policies, knowledge of geopolitics, geoeconomics, and everything like that. The collaboration among different sectors, which is very important nowadays. and no supply chain manager can otherwise become an efficient and a very effective global supply chain manager, which is a required skill set today. And therefore, I just not in anticipation respect the gurus, but also challenge them to work on this, do whatever research possible, do whatever knowledge which can be created or co-created with the practitioners here in this hall and beyond this also. So I have joined to live stream, I guess. So this the message to everybody, and especially the delivery, the gurus of the sector and economy to create those new paradigms, create that new knowledge which the directors and the governors can follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Erwalji. I think very important aspect that's upon you by you. There's one thing which we from Canadian industry as well is that having a common platform, digital platform, because the PCAs and the NLP Marine have not yet come in the operational efficiency as it was required. The immediate need that we feel is that let's create a platform where all stakeholders in exim logistics and logistics industry can operate upon seamlessly without having the individual. So that would be our request to all of you to push it through that.
What a response on this. I think expectation is definitely valid, and expectation is definitely valid, and it should not be just only from the government.
Yes.
This is the expectation we should have from ourselves. And let me tell you, whether it's Gurudev, NLP Marine, PM Gati Shakti, or other that public digital infrastructures, I call them the logistics public digital infrastructures. They are like infrastructures where you can start or catalyze the activities. It's like a shopping mall which has been created. The individual shops in the stalls have to be now operated. Right? And similarly, in NLP, the basic infrastructure and framework is already created in the form of UNIT, right, or NLP Marine. Now, it is up to the industry just not only avail this facility which is available, but exploit it, upgrade it, and challenge it further to upgrade itself, right? So that will help us in maximizing the benefits of the digital infrastructure and investment which has been made into it. And I think the way is not far when we are actually able to achieve maximum out of it, right? And then one more thing is that the laws for interoperating the digital infrastructure across the borders. Like at this point in time, most of the countries, the developed or the developing countries, have had attained a digitalization of trade or digitalization of trade or international trade, but within the national boundaries. They have attained digitalization to the extent of 80 to 90%, including India. Right? But when it comes to international trade across the borders being digitalized, there is a very poor state. And we have very poor progress on that. And for that, this time, when under India's presidency of G20, we have written the constitution which should govern the interconnectivity or interoperability of national systems with other national systems. So international communication and digitalization of international trade across the borders. So the 10 high-level principles have been accepted by, adopted by G20, and following those principles, if you're developing your digital systems, they will be accepted for integration by other countries with their own digital systems. So I think that must be a way as well, and industry is has a huge role to play in this thing. As I said, actors and the factors, right? True. So that should come up to the expectation.
This is a very good question, relevant question. So I would just like to add few points. Like for example, if we have the education qualification or the technical expertise, But then to translate into livelihood, we need some soft skills for that. In the similar way, the government has come out with the national logistic policy and has created so much logistic infrastructure in terms of freight corridors, multimodal logistic parks, and so many other, liberalization of various other aspects. And also, it has set up the division like Gati Shakti, and also now it has integrated so many other departments as a whole in Gati Shakti. But we have to draw on this kind of, we have to leverage this. And to leverage this, the internal management systems of each individual company has to be, targeted so that we can draw upon this kind of, leverage which the government has given to us. Now, it has been seen that the inventory management, the various other systems, the software, the warehousing, all these things have to be taken up at an individual level. And the proper, channel like just-in-time inventory we have to see. Now we have to, do some predictive analysis. We have to, leverage the blockchain applications. So all these things, if we integrate into the supply chain, that will only enable us to draw into the logistics, infrastructure which is created by the government. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's the red and cheek that we need to get into. It's important. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Friends, finally, Dr. Varna Agarwal, ma'am. You've seen it all. And today's Teachers' Day, we want to understand from you how important logistic industry is there. You gave us a preview of it when we were sitting for a cup of tea prior to the session beginning. The thought process which you have, the vision that you have, and we've seen your execution when you were there. The COVID period, when the vaccines were required at the last particular nook and corner of the country, you made us run for them. You ensured that the airlines, the service providers, everywhere we could move with your vision and energy. We want to understand from you that when we are talking about Viksit Bharat 2047, what our Prime Minister is trying to convey, how do we get there? What are the means? What are the formulas that we need to change of mindset that is required, change of approach that is required. And finally, being the chairperson of the IFC committee for shipping and civil aviation in Gift City, we want to understand what is there in store for us as logistic players. I think that would be a wonderful takeaway for the audience. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you. We are waiting for you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to speak like an insider for logistics, who's now an outsider in a sense. So I give you a perspective from both sides, right? And where do I see us today? So as I was hearing the panelists, I was reminded, what is our vision? The vision is already given to us. 2047, we have to be a developed country. And can we become a developed country without having developed a logistics which handles the developmental needs? Right? तो vision तो आ गई. अब mindset हमको बदलना है जो आप. Mindset क्या है? I was reminded that Samudra Manthan happened at the time of creation, the churn of the oceans as it was. What came out from it? The resources came out from it, and sustainability or the Amrit came out from it. Right? Today also, we have to move the resources and we have to move them in a sustainable manner. Right? So, वहीं पे है. Is the churn happening again? Surendra has already told us कि बिल्कुल geopolitics is changing. The churn is already happening. You have the good guys, you have the bad guys. You have the winners, you have the losers. Whatever classification you want to give them. Profits or growth, I would call it growth, are meant to be realized. Now, each of you in the industry, you have to ask yourself, Are you looking for profit today, or are you looking for sustained growth for yourselves? Are you building systems for India and the supply chains and the logistics sector, or are you only doing transaction कि मैंने ये transaction पकड़ ली और मैंने खत्म कर दी, मेरे बैंक में $1 million आ गया, and that is good enough for my year, right? So you have to look at the manthan which is going on and the opportunities for resources and the sustainability that it is bringing. दोनों लेके आ गया. You have to transport the gems that are coming out, and you have to drink the Amrit so that you are sustainable. Not the devil, but you are sustainable. Right? So that's the big change of mindset that has come and the opportunities that are there for you. Pehले let me address the sustainability part. What is the Amrit for us? Right? आपका finance कहाँ से आ रहा है? Are you secure in that? Is it affordable? These are the things which are not in your hands in a sense. The technology, the innovation that will drive you towards efficiency, timeliness, that is also not totally in your hands, but as has been said, innovation to aap hi karenge because you know the best. Do you have partners in the government? Of course you have partners in the government. They'll give you tax breaks, they'll give you other advantages. You have government-run academic institutions, you have government-run skilling centers, you have private as well, and you have government-private partnerships as well. Everything is there. The only thing is, mind को apply करना है to innovate. Do we have to wait for the innovation to take place? Obviously not. We have already had a mini manthan during COVID, when everything came to a lockdown, not just in India but globally. But we managed with what we had. Somebody mentioned that our turnaround time is 49 hours. I am shocked to hear that. The average turnaround time for supplies, which were exports and imports actually, that we achieved during COVID was 9 minutes. Where is 9 minutes and where is 49 hours? Where did we use that hours? हमें सोचना है ना. Something with the same environment but in a churn which was actually stopped. Today's churn is about growth and opportunity. Right? That's the difference we have to understand. And then bring those efficiencies. You don't have to wait for the churning to be complete before you realize the opportunity. आप अभी जो है उससे करें and then allow the innovations to bring efficiencies, more profit. अभी आप growth करें, अभी आप sustainable and resilient होके अपने आप को embed करें in the global supply chains, domestic supply chains, to the tier 2, tier 3 towns where you are not going sufficiently at the moment. The aggregator that was talked about is a very important thing. That aggregator combined with the digital aggregators, financial aggregators that we already have, your payments and taxes are also now available online for us to be paying. So these are there as networks to be enhanced. So I'm just going to say, your resilience comes from the three things of sustainability, environment, but it is not the primary driver. That is, जब हम लोग equation सीखते थे in maths, right? I'm sure most of you did maths. You had the primary equation and then you have the assumptions of the secondary equations. Maximize this subject to this, right? These are the equations we learn. So your maxima function, maximize जो करना है, वो तो आपको कामों के लिए करना है. What are you carrying? Your other functions are your finance function. Am I breaking even? Am I earning a profit? Am I ensuring growth? What is your other? Am I using the optimal technologies? Because technology also is there given to you. Am I using the right mode? And why I use the word mode and not energy? Because it's not necessary that you have to use the most energy efficient one. The best does not have to become the enemy of the good. At this point of time, yes, we are going to go towards energy efficiency to the end. But in your supply chain, you have to see what is your driver, which is your mode of transport, which is going to drive that cargo for you. And that you have to use. Not कि मुझे multimodal होना है, मेरे को सिर्फ रेलवे से most efficiency आएगी. Nobody will use the air then. Whereas time is an important element of not only your cost but your management of the supply chain. So you have to keep अपने दिमाग में मुझे तो goods carry करनी है, transport करनी है, right? That is your primary transport. Then the third, ESG जो होता है, पहले second पे आते हैं. E is your environment. You are going to do the best possible available in terms of environment sustainability. Second, S is social. Are you skilling your teams? Are you creating a social infrastructure which is the soft power? Right? Are you creating that and then moving forward? Just you as the head of the organization knowing कि मेरी कंपनी को मुझे ऐसे ड्राइव करना है, not good enough. You have to leave it sustainable ना. हम लोग सब तो चले जाएंगे, but we have to leave sustainable structures. Then G is good governance. Is that guiding your company? Because if it's not, कल को क्या हो जाएगा? Who comes knocking on the door? You don't know. So your resilience or your Amrit, right, comes from all the three. So ये हमने अब उसको tackle कर लिया. Now we look at goods growth, right? I'm sorry, I'll take 2 more minutes. Where are the growth opportunities? I looked at the budget. Every year, growth opportunities are being given to you. The government does a lot of thinking in consultation with industry. And I don't mean only logistics. They will do it with manufacturing, they will do it with the resource suppliers everywhere in the world. कहाँ से आ रहे हैं, where the production is going to take place, right? Where the documents are to be moved, etc. So, I mean, it could be not be only goods related transactions, it can be services related documentation, or it could be just consumer driven e-commerce, or it could be anything. I saw that in our budget, 4 things have been mentioned as the growth. Agriculture. So have we looked at, in our minds, the food chains? If we look at them and say, not just food, but fertilizer and other seeds and other inputs into agriculture, if we form our mind and go and attack that, and embed ourselves in it in a serious way. Why do I say that? The world wants to come over here and give you food products. The world is giving you fertilizer. आप लोग कहाँ हैं? MSME, again an employment driver. Right? You are an employment driver also, logistics. Here's another employment driver, MSMEs. Did you all reach out to them? वो तो छोटे-छोटे हैं, कहीं-कहीं पे पड़े हुए हैं. Through the associations, through regional groupings, you reach out to them and say, I'm creating this product for you. Can you create a product for them? They won't know what to do. They don't have their wherewithal. You have it. Third, investment. So much of infrastructure related investment is taking place. Is that not a thinking point for you? That's where I need to be. जहाँ बड़े projects हो रहे हैं, वहाँ industry आएगी. The people not building industry, that warehouses, हवा में तो नहीं बना रहे हैं. They are building it near manufacturing centers, or they are building a dedicated freight corridor along a particular route for a particular reason. So where is the investment taking place? Did we think and plan for those regions, for Then what is the fourth thing? Exports was the focus. अब जब exports का आता है, naturally imports तो होता ही है, India is fiscal current account rate deficit हमारा रहता है, तो import तो हो ही रहा है, और भी होगा, the more we export, the more import will take place. In exports, last year, BRICS में we brought the entire Africa into BRICS. India had a huge political advantage. What did we do to reach out to Africa? It is going to be the next India. Africa is billed as the next India where the highest growth is going to come in the times to come. Just as we are continental, you have to look at African countries as continental because they move together also. So, आप कहाँ हैं? Second, we just had an SCO. There were landlocked countries को अगर देखें, there were 4 Central Asian countries there. Did we tell the Prime Minister when you are going to SCO? We see a fabulous opportunity. Why am I saying Central Asian countries? You know, we did the world's first air freight corridor dedicated. आपने रेल का सुना है, which is all within India, and now we are doing under IMEC also a dedicated multimodal corridor. I'm not sure how many of us have begun our thinking on that. It's such a fabulous thing across 3 continents. Did we apply our mind? Government करके ले रही है, वो अपना negotiating capital use करके it is putting in place these opportunities. Did we reach out to the commercial counselor of any of these of our embassies in any of these countries and say कि आप हमें बताएं कि यहाँ पे क्या products हैं जो हम import कर सकते हैं या यहाँ पे who needs India's supply? Did we do that? I believe not. So I'm saying there are continental shifts. BRICS is 3 continents: Asia, Africa, Latin America. We are now going to be hosting another BRICS. Did we tell them, let us develop a digital freight corridor? Even if we can't have a physical one, can we link ourselves through digital? उसमें भी we lost an opportunity. पहले मैं वो dedicated freight corridor का बताती हूँ. We did the first dedicated freight corridor, air freight corridor in the world. Do you know with whom? Afghanistan. Among the worst security risks for us during the heydays of insurgencies and regime changes in Afghanistan, it was so successful that government was subsidizing 50% of the air freight. Can you imagine? आपकी को कितना फायदा हो रहा था? Government of India ने facilitation करी. We set up only a facilitation desk at IGI Delhi and at Mumbai, and it worked beautifully. कुछ और नहीं करना पड़ा. We just connected them with these 5 Central Asian countries, huge ones, who are also a gateway to by road and rail to East Europe and the whole of Europe. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan. Other than Kazakhstan, the other 4 were present. Other than Turkmenistan, the other 4 were present at school. Do we even have a thought today that we can still get benefit from the meeting that happened? Or is our Prime Minister's visit only a political one and not substantive? ये हमें substance लाना है, right? So we have to see the initiatives, we have to see how we can become resilient, and when you wake up, you have to say, where are my growth opportunities? When you have every meal, you have to see where are my growth opportunities. When you go to sleep, bedtime stories बच्चों को नहीं सुनाएं. Please tell them growth stories of the things you did that day. They will learn from it. Believe me, this is what works. This is how we did it in COVID. Now, just to come to Gift City. Gift City does not mean a replication of what you are already doing. It does not mean a replacement of the domestic tariff area or mainland India. Gift City provides you with a financial and technology, a fintech platform to do better. And to do better for what? For all your modes of transportation. The biggest cost is in your mobile assets. Airplane. Did a single cargo airplane come through Gift City? Not yet. At all. Have planes come? In hundreds. Have engines come for the planes? In about 65. Have other equipment, landing gear, this gear, that gear come, APU? Yes, they have all. Skilling, your tech part, the innovation and tech. Simulators have been coming. Right? आप लोग अपना कंटेनर्स को कहाँ से ला सकते हैं शिपिंग करने? अगर now let me go to shipping also. The biggest ship cost is the ship itself. We have enabled ship chartering and leasing from there, which makes it very financially and technologically and taxation-wise cheap. Because there is for companies which go and set themselves up as fintech companies, just as Air India has done, just as Indigo has done, and so many others are there. You have all the foreign and Indian banks. You work only in foreign currency over there with a limited amount for rupee for local administrative purposes. It's like India offshore. It's got FEMA waiver on all FEMA matters under that rule. So, foreign exchange का आपको ease है. It has commodity exchanges. It has a bullion exchange. We're doing a lot of bullion trading out of there. It has a unique arbitration mechanism linked with Singapore. So, disputes are easier to handle out of Gift City. So, आपकी financing is made affordable and easy. In foreign currency, in rupees, तो आप ले सकते हैं in the domestic arena. Your most important assets can be got on easier terms without overloading your balance sheet. That is the biggest thing. आप एक aircraft लेके आते हैं, आप एक ship लेके आते हैं, आप एक railway engine लेके आते हैं, आप एक satellite लेके आते हैं. You are bringing it without putting the whole capital cost on your balance sheet and losing your leverage for other debt. That is the most important thing that comes, you see, by using that platform. And skilling के लिए आप कुछ भी आपने simulators, आपकी other skill devices वहाँ से लेके आए, software लेके आए, hardware लेके आए, आपका anything which is knowledge driven, containers लेके आए ships के लिए वहाँ से, you don't have to buy the containers. You can lease them out of there, and there is a tax holiday of 10 years. Within a 15-year period, complete tax holiday, no withholding tax, no stamp duty. What more do you want? Arbitration, which is international level arbitration, we use in the foreign and our own. अब हर एक चीज हम लोग बाहर से नहीं करें ना, आप लोग भी arbitrators बने. Make your own industry panels for trainers, for arbitrators, for inspectors. Why should you wait for a UK arbitrator coming over here or a Singapore based? You know, you have to look at it from that perspective. Now, my final point.